What if you made a bad choice when you were a teenager and suddenly you were sentenced to spend the rest of your life in prison with no chance of parole? Would you stop growing and maturing as a person? Could you accept responsibility for your actions and ask for redemption? Wouldn't you want a second chance? I'm Joy Wilson, also known as Joy the Baker. Like everyone, I've made mistakes early in life and relied on family and mentors to believe in me enough to give me a second chance. I believe in second chances, which is why I've been happy to help support Louisiana Parole Project with every baking class I teach at the Bakehouse. Let me tell you more about Parole Project. This nonprofit organization is doing what many believe is impossible. They're removing barriers and helping formerly incarcerated people reintegrate back into society and become productive, tax-paying citizens. To understand how Parole Project got started and why it works, you need to meet one of its founders, Andrew Hunley. Here's a news feature on Parole Project by NBC's Dateline.
The infamous front gate of the Louisiana State Penitentiary, better known as Angola. For those sentenced to life here, it's their last chance to say goodbye to the outside world.
He's about to sign out.
But on the days Andrew Hunley is here, it becomes a chance to say hello and welcome back.
Well, what took you so long?
Hunley runs the Parole Project, which he started in 2016.
Congratulations.
His nonprofit helps men like Dwayne Henry, who spent more than 25 years at Angola, re-enter society and stay there.
You're going to be another example of a second chance. So what we do is we bring those clients up to speed.
What kind of sauce?
Barbecue, how to use a cell phone, getting your driver's license, how to put a debit card into a machine. Pay for it right there.
Really?
We want to make sure that they have the best opportunity to succeed because they're going to be my neighbor.
The Parole Project offers clients a temporary place to live, help with job placement, and classes on how to interact with a world that's very different than the one they left behind so long ago.
What today's gender norms are, what social norms are, what we tolerate in society.
Hunley specializes in clients who are known as juvenile lifers, men who committed their crime before they were 18 and were sentenced to life without parole. Convicted of second-degree murder, Dwayne Henry was 16 when he robbed and killed a man during a drug deal. But in 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that such a sentence was unconstitutional for juveniles, citing that adolescent brains are not fully developed.
Jeff is a juvenile lifer too.
After another court ruling in 2016, all juvenile lifers had the right to be resentenced and given a chance at parole. And that included Andrew Hunley.
Criminal justice reform is about believing in second chances.
At age 15, Hunley murdered a school friend by brutally beating her with a metal rod. After serving 19 years of his life sentence at Angola, he became the first juvenile lifer in Louisiana to be paroled because of those Supreme Court decisions.
Did the system make a mistake putting someone like you, or putting any, 17-year-old in an adult prison for the rest of their life?
I think the system made a mistake when they sentenced us to life without parole, and they said, you're beyond repair, you're beyond redemption. And the Supreme Court didn't say open up the gates and let all these juvenile lifers out of prison. They said, hey, let's take a look and see how they've changed their lives.
After his release, Hunley says he could have blended back into society. But if he did that, he couldn't have started the Parole Project, which to date has helped nearly 50 juvenile lifers get back into the world.
I'm able to do something that brings people hope and gives people an opportunity to have a second chance. To be honest with you, it feels like atonement.
Since that story aired, the Parole Project has marched forward and the number of people successfully transitioned from prison is approaching 150. But Andrew does not work alone. As a 501c3 organization, there is a board of directors, a staff, and a pool of volunteers. The staff is uniquely qualified to deal with reintegration because most of them have been through it themselves.
So when I made a parole, Parole Project came pick me up from state police barracks, I'm like, okay, I'm good, I know what to do. I got everything figured out. I know which way I'm going. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this. And but the minute I left the gates, and I realized I was totally lost. And I didn't know, what to do or which way to go. And Parole Project, they guided me, took me through programming, the classes, at the time, and that mold and shape, to like where I'm at and what I'm doing today.
What you do is you ensure that they have all their needs met, their initial needs, and then you help them along on a journey that's their future, and develop a future for them that actually has hope, and it's not a hopeless situation that they're in.
It enabled me personally to be a bit self-sufficient in that not being able to be a burden to family members. I've been with the organization now for about almost a year, and I'm excited to be a part of it because I get an opportunity to meet directly or interact directly with the people that's coming out, especially the younger guys, and to remind them that in order to be successful on this side, you have to have realistic goals. And this organization gives us an opportunity, that includes me, an opportunity to reach those goals.
As our population grows, all the clients that we've got now, it just reinforces that what we are doing works.
Parole Project is a boots-on-the-ground organization. The year-long program is evidence-based, follows best practices, and allows people to keep their dignity, find work, and confidently stand up on their own. Take a look at some of these success stories.
I was a professional car thief. That's what I did. I stole every car I could get my hands on. Nobody's fault. I don't blame anything on anybody but myself. I steered across the lines at an early age, and not because my family didn't give me or care for me or show me the right way. It was just when it was time for me to make another step in my life as a young kid, I stepped into the wrong crowd. And I started doing what they were doing, and next thing you know, it was lazy, inconsiderate, uneducated, disrespectful. And I just continued on in jail after jail after jail after jail until it was really just too late, till I wound up with a life sentence. So I don't blame anybody for the life that I lived. It's my own fault. The change started to come when my granddaughter was born. In 2007, I started saying to myself, man, I'm a grandfather now. Life has passed me by and I have nothing to show for it. I don't know how to do anything. I don't have no legacy to leave behind other than Freddie Wilbert's been in prison all his life. So I started doing little things differently, although I still had troubles. But things started changing and the troubles started distancing themselves until they finally just dissipated. My thinking's changed. People who knew me then can't believe who I am now, and people who know me now can't believe who I once was. In 2010, I was called to be a mentor in the automotive program for young first offender guys that needed some guidance and some type of training to not go back to selling drugs or whatever they were doing, stealing. I was teaching air conditioning class and learning it at the same time. Before long, I was master certified, doing other things, generators, heavy trucks. For 10 straight years, I just pounded in the automotive and mechanical electrical field. And no doubt, because of the Louisiana Parole Project, I was released. If it was not for the Parole Project giving me their support and taking me in, I would still be in prison right now.
Keep going. Thanks very much. You ready to go home? Yes, sir, I am.
It's unbelievable. It's a miracle, life-changing event fixing to take place, and I feel like I'm prepared to take on that challenge, and I was ready to. It wasn't anxious or anything of that nature. I was ready to step into the next realm of my life. They've given me somewhere to live. I had nowhere to go. They gave me an opportunity to be successful. They opened the doors to allow me to learn social norms, computer norms, just giving me rides to where I needed to get to get my feet on the ground, stand up straight. I used to help Mr. Jerry pass out peanuts, crackling, and hats at the rodeo. His son, Mr. Eric, has taken his reign and moved with it, being free and not being called an offender or considered an offender. That was my biggest thing, because they don't know my history. They know me by now as Freddie. My name tag at work, people who call me Freddie, it's just Freddie. It's not your DOC number. They try to do the best they can for people. The money is for just getting a person with nowhere to go after so long in prison, the help he needs to get his own. It's touching for what they do. I'm overwhelmed with joy and excitement and gratitude towards this parole project.
I knew the world was changing because I watch TV, I read the newspaper, I watch the news. So I'm wondering, I'm saying, how I'm gonna function out there, you know, and after being in prison for 40 years, you know, you're gonna wonder, how I'm gonna make it out there? You know, I've been locked up so long, but I'm telling you, the Parole Project has walked me through everything. And I'm doing good. I've been out 5 months, I got a job, I take the bus. So I'm really proud of myself for serving 40 years and 5 months, I got me a job.
And I'm not what you call a public speaker. I can't, you know, I can talk a little bit, but I'm not really good at it. And so they helped me along the way.
5 months after being with Parole Project, I was able to get my very first apartment, which was a 1-bedroom. And so I took advantage of the first time home buyer program. So I am the owner of a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, big beautiful backyard, and I have my mother with me.
I just want to live comfortable and be happy and try to find my children, because I don't know where they're at, and just try to live my life.
And for someone, out the goodness of their heart, to just take the money out of their pockets and help us out, it had to be God-sent people.
The success of Parole Project is no accident. The Supreme Court ruling was not intended to just open the gates of prison. Parole Project's clients have spent many years on a path of rehabilitation and personal development.
And I developed, you know, a faith life after I was incarcerated and started on a journey to be a better person. And my favorite image of Christ is that of Him washing the disciples' feet. And it's a reminder to me every day that servant leadership is an awesome thing. Being a leader isn't about putting yourself in front of people. Being a leader is about how much you can do to lift people up.
Once I got older, I mean, I automatically changed. My brain automatically recalibrated, and you know, I changed, and now I'm a different person.
In my mind, I was there for something that I did not do. But I had to forgive myself of the past. I had to mature. And once I grabbed a hold of that, I started taking programming. And that's when the transformation in my life began.
And you have to have shown that you actually deserve a second chance and you want it.
I was fortunate enough as the baby of the prison to have what you called as long-termers who came to my rescue, who told me, who taught me, who protected me, who told me this is what you need to do. And even having this life sentence, you need a paper trail. You're young, you need to get an education, stay out of trouble.
And you can't fool the Parole Project, because they are guys with like experiences and they know it. You just can't. And they sense that genuineness.
If you cannot get out of a darkness, how are you supposed to expound light? So there has to be forgiveness within.
Everyone should be viewed from a point to where change can come about, because the word evolution was created for a reason, and it was put forth for a reason. And everyone that's bad will not be bad forever.
I think I did a lot of positives in my life in prison, and My goal was to give back to other 23-year-olds or other 20-year-olds that were coming in prison, like I was, to make it easier and lighter for them and realize that they needed change. So that was my life in prison.
It overwhelms me how impactful that is in one's life, because it impacted me also. If it wouldn't have been for the supporters that surrounded me, I don't believe that I would be here, because I know I couldn't have done it on my own. So if I could tell them anything, I would say thank you. Thank you for making a difference, not only in my life, but all the lives that are around me as well.
Parole Project changes lives, and those lives change communities. Civic and business leaders are recognizing Parole Project's impact. Eric Lane is one of those leaders.
I think because people deserve a second chance. And the people who have the long-term habits that they've shown that they have changed, they are rehabilitated, they've done this over a long period of time, they've earned the status of trustee, I think they should get a chance to restart their life.
Hey everyone, this is Scott Budnick. I am the founder of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition in California, and I'm the executive producer of the film Just Mercy. And I'm coming to you today to just share my love, my passion, and my support for the Louisiana Parole Project. When I started ARC in California, I learned firsthand what folks need when they come home, whether it be housing, healing, mentorship, connections to school, and living wage jobs and careers. And we have adapted a lot of our program at ARC from what we've learned from the Louisiana Parole Project. And it's been an absolute honor on Just Mercy and bringing this film all over the world to be able to partner with Louisiana Parole Project in the incredible work that they do. I very much look forward to continuing to come to Louisiana and work in Louisiana. And God bless everybody who is supporting this incredible organization that is changing lives, improving public safety, and saving resources and taxpayer dollars so they could go into helping people rather than just incarcerating people. Love to you all, blessings. Hope you guys have a great event.
And one of the biggest allies that we have is in fact probation and parole. The Division of Probation and Parole has learned who we are. And in turn, we have learned who they are. And now they consider us a resource and vice versa. We consider them a resource.
I think the general public doesn't see people in prison as individuals. People with life experiences, people maybe who have done bad things, but they're not bad people. And that is not true of all the people that are in prison. I mean, there are some people in prison that need to stay in prison, but a good many of the people that are in prison today could be in the community living good lives.
I support the Parole Project because they are to the justice impacted, first responders and ministers of justice. Parole Project does the transformative work of restoring these souls, and they do this while simultaneously protecting the public. Their work is a form of restorative justice, and I am a proud supporter.
So my organization, the Securus Foundation, financially supports the Louisiana Parole Project because they are actually doing the work. I've had the pleasure of not only touring their office, but touring several of the houses that they provide, whether it be apartment buildings or if it's an actual house in a residential neighborhood that is respectable, and it gives people some sense of pride. They are very diligent about it truly feeling like a home and not just a traditional halfway house or just a building with four walls.
You create a bond, and I think that the Parole Project is, if not the most important part of it, it definitely creates that link that you're talking about between people, the friends, the family, the system, the representation, it all kind of encompasses it all.
We are here today to ask for your help. In addition to receiving grant funding, Parole Project relies on the generosity of individual donors and businesses to support their important work. Listen to what these supporters have to say.
They have done an amazing job. It has been wildly successful. So we have shown that there is a way to release people who have been rehabilitated back into society and turning a tax burden into a taxpayer. I'm a conservative Republican. I just think our criminal justice system is flawed.
He gave back to the next man to help him come out. So there wasn't a space of time that it took Andrew to work into this with his very first paycheck. He gave back to help the next man when he got out. And from that point on, he has continued. So I have a lot of confidence in just the heart he has for this cause.
Louisiana Parole Project was the first effort that I became aware of where somebody was beginning to grapple with that issue and doing so in a very thoughtful way and based upon the evidence so far, a very successful way with those that are being brought into the program as clients. So it was pretty easy for me to decide that this is worth my investment.
On June 30th, 1993, my life was turned upside down when my 43-year-old sister, Marilyn Sage, was beaten and stabbed to death by Erica Shepard and James Dickerson in Houston, Texas. I spent 30 years working with children and teachers in K-12 education, but I always believed in forgiveness and second chances. I met Andrew Hunley a couple of years ago and the people at Parole Project, and now I realize through their efforts they are giving many people second chances, and I learned the true meaning of forgiveness and redemption. Please join me. Believe in second chances. Make a gift so that we can continue the work at the Louisiana Parole Project and make Louisiana a safer place in which to live. You can make your check out to Louisiana Parole Project and mail it to 251 Florida Street, Suite 203, Baton Rouge, 70801, or go to Louisiana Parole Project and click on Donate. Thank you, and remember, we are all asked to forgive 70 times 7.
The money you give Parole Project goes directly to housing, transportation, food, and transitional support. And we need this for every person who goes through the journey. Thank you for your time and consideration today. And we'd like to close with a few words from Andrew.
I'm living proof that people can change, that we all continue to mature and evolve our entire life. When I went to prison as a teenager, I was fortunate to have mentors that encouraged me to reach my full potential. Those mentors were other prisoners, many of whom were incarcerated as teens themselves. They helped me believe in myself, and I believe in them. It is now my life's mission to reach back and help those who deserve a second chance. These are the people who are helping others return to everyday life. These are the faces of those who are now productive members of society. We believe in a criminal justice system that recognizes rehabilitation and redemption. We believe that a little helping hand makes all the difference in the successful reentry into society. We believe in restoring families, improving communities, enhancing public safety, and saving taxpayer money. We believe in the human spirit and the ability to change. We believe in second chances. We are Parole Project.